Lewis Hamilton's Ferrari debut season has been called abject. Fans, pundits, even Hamilton himself have suggested that the seven-time world champion is a shadow of the driver he once was. But according to Jolyon Palmer, things are not nearly as bad as they seem. The truth, Palmer argues, is that Hamilton's struggles are not the product of decline or lost talent. They're the product of small mistakes, bad timing, and the pressure of being measured against one of the fastest teammates in Formula One. Fix those small errors, Palmer says, and Hamilton is instantly back in the fight. Let's look at the bigger picture. Hamilton sits sixth in the Drivers' Championship with just 109 points from 14 rounds. He's finished in the points almost every weekend, except Hungary, where he slumped to 12th, and China, where he was disqualified. On paper, it looks grim. 0 podiums, outshone by Charles Leclerc, who has delivered Ferrari's only pole and 5 podiums. But Palmer insists the gap isn't as big as the results suggest. The problem, he says, is twofold. First, Hamilton is up against Charles Leclerc, a driver he describes as frighteningly quick. Second, Hamilton's qualifying form has been riddled with small, costly mistakes. Palmer went through the evidence race by race. At Silverstone, he claims Hamilton was on pole pace. The Ferrari had its new floor upgrade. Hamilton looked back to his best, and he was even ahead of Verstappen on the lap. But a mistake in the final corners cost him everything, from pole position pace to nowhere. In Spa, it looked even worse on paper. But again, the detail tells a different story. In sprint qualifying, Hamilton was faster than Leclerc in the first sector. Then, an oversteer moment at Stavolo destroyed the lap. Later, a spin at the bus stop ended his chances. In the main qualifying, he cut the corner at Radion and lost another solid lap time. Palmer insists the pace was there. We just didn't see it. Then came Budapest. Hamilton missed Q3, called himself useless, and Leclerc went on to take pole. But Palmer highlights that Hamilton's gap was only a couple of tenths. On a different day, that same pace could have put him comfortably inside the top 5. Instead, the narrative became another disaster. This is the critical point. Formula One is a sport of margins, and when you're Lewis Hamilton, those margins are magnified tenfold. We're simply not used to seeing him make these small mistakes in qualifying. That's why the results look catastrophic. But underneath, the pace is still there. Palmer calls it pressure. Hamilton is under enormous strain to deliver one lap speed in a Ferrari that still doesn't suit him. He knows Leclerc is incredibly quick, maybe underrated in race trim, and that pushes Hamilton to overreach. The mistakes pile up and the narrative shifts from unlucky to finished. But Palmer's argument is that Hamilton isn't finished at all. He's not far from putting it together and at least being closer to Charles again. And when he does, the whole story changes, and we can't ignore the context. Ferrari is the most pressurized team in Formula One. Every driver who joins feels the weight of the red shirt. Sebastian Vettel felt it. Fernando Alonso felt it. Both had rough patches, but both also won races in red, even if the championship slipped through their fingers. Hamilton can do the same. My opinion, Palmer is right to defend him. Hamilton has not forgotten how to drive. His race pace is still strong. His ability to fight in the midfield, carve through traffic, and manage tires remains elite. The real problem is qualifying. Small errors that snowball into big consequences. And when you're already chasing Leclerc, those mistakes are magnified into a crisis. But here's the twist. Small mistakes can be fixed. A braking adjustment, a cleaner exit, a calmer approach in high-pressure laps. We're not talking about a fundamental lack of speed. We're talking about margins, tenths and hundredths. The kind of thing Hamilton has mastered before and can master again. So yes, the results look abject. Yes, Hungary was embarrassing. But writing Hamilton off based on a handful of bad Saturdays? That's short-sighted, because if he strings together a clean run, if Ferrari unlocks just a little more stability, he's back in contention. In the end, Palmer sees Hamilton at a crossroads. He has to decide whether to fully follow Ferrari's direction or bend the team toward his own vision. Either way, the fight isn't over. And with 2026 bringing a total reset, Hamilton's story in red could still swing from disappointment to redemption. So don't let the headlines fool you. Hamilton may look lost right now, but he's one step away from reminding the world why he's a 7-time champion. And when that moment comes, the critics will look just as abject as they claimed he was.